What happens when the ultimate arena of success becomes a battlefield for blood relatives? On March 4, 1942, inside the glittering Biltmore Bowl in Los Angeles, two sisters sat just tables apart at the Academy Awards, waiting for the announcement of Best Actress. Olivia de Havilland, already a national icon for her performance as Melanie in Gone with the Wind, was favored to win for Hold Back the Dawn. Beside her sat her younger sister, Joan Fontaine, nominated for Alfred Hitchcock's thriller, Suspicion. When Joan's name was called, she froze in genuine terror, knowing that taking that golden statuette meant shattering her sister's pride forever. According to biographer Charles Hyam's extensive records, the bitterness between the sisters was not born under the blinding lights of Hollywood, but in the nursery. Born in Tokyo to English parents, Olivia and Joan were dragged into a toxic dynamic by their mother, Lillian Augusta Roos, an aspiring actress who openly favored her eldest daughter. Lillian showered Olivia with attention while treating Joan as an unwelcome burden, instilling an unhealthy climate of sibling rivalry before either girl could even read a script. In her candid 1978 autobiography, No Bed of Roses, Joan Fontaine detailed a horrific childhood filled with physical altercations and psychological warfare. She recounted how Olivia would tear her hand-me-down clothes, outshine her in school recitals, and physically overpower her during domestic disputes. When Joan attempted to follow her older sister into acting, Lillian forbade her from using the family name, forcing her to adopt the stage name Joan Fontaine so as not to dilute Olivia's rising brand. By the late 1930s, both women had secured coveted studio contracts, effectively entering the merciless machine known as the classic studio system. Hollywood executives quickly realized that real-life animosity made for sensational publicity. Studio moguls routinely pitted the sisters against each other, leaking details of their personal spats to gossip columnists and using their rivalry to negotiate lower salaries and command absolute control over their artistic careers. As reported by The Hollywood Reporter during production, Joan was initially rejected for the lead in Gone with the Wind, with director George Cukor allegedly suggesting she offer her sister for the role of Melanie. Olivia secured the iconic part, earning an Oscar nomination and monumental praise. Undeterred, Joan rebounded spectacularly under the direction of Alfred Hitchcock, landing the mysterious lead in Rebecca, a Gothic masterpiece that propelled her into instant high-grade A-list status. The boiling point arrived at the 1942 Academy Awards, marking the first time in Oscar history that sisters competed in the same lead category. When Joan won for Suspicion, she rejected Olivia's congratulatory hand, later admitting in interviews that she felt an overwhelming sense of guilt mixed with defensive resentment. 5 years later, when Olivia won her own Best Actress Oscar for To Each His Own, she returned the gesture, deliberately brushing past Joan backstage in full view of flashing cameras. Powerful gossip columnists like Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons seized upon the feud, feeding an eager public an endless stream of sensationalized updates. Archived newspaper reports from the late 1940s demonstrate how the press actively manufactured controversies, interpreting every declined dinner invitation or separate public appearance as evidence of malicious intent. The public became obsessed with choosing sides, effectively turning a tragic family rift into consumable entertainment. While the media fixated on their personal rift, Olivia was privately executing one of the most radical legal moves in entertainment history. According to California court records from 1944, Olivia sued Warner Brothers to break free from long-term contract extensions, resulting in the groundbreaking de Havilland decision. This landmark ruling permanently dismantled the studio system's modern feudalism, liberating actors across the industry from perpetual binding servitude. While Olivia fought in the courts, Joan quietly crafted her own independent legacy, securing high-profile roles and cultivating an image of sophisticated aristocratic independence. Joan pursued varied interests, including piloting airplanes, interior design, and international travel, proving to industry executives that she was far more than just Olivia's younger rival. Yet, despite their individual artistic triumphs, every profile published about either sister invariably returned to the subject of their unresolved feud. The studio machine, however, thrived on perpetual conflict. When Olivia won her second Academy Award in 1949 for The Heiress, studio publicists subtly fanned the flames of competition once more. Publicists realized that keeping the narrative of the bitter rivalry alive guaranteed higher box office returns and sustained cultural relevance, demonstrating how corporate interests actively discouraged any genuine reconciliation between the estranged sisters. This pattern revealed a darker truth about Golden Age Hollywood: the systematic exploitation of female vulnerability for institutional profit. The entertainment industry routinely weaponized personal traumas, setting female stars against one another to maintain executive control. By framing the sisters' professional achievements through the narrow lens of a petty catfight, studio heads diminished two extraordinary artistic careers into a sensationalized soap opera. The deep psychological cost of this public narrative was devastating for both women. Behind closed doors, their inability to forge a normal sisterly bond cast a long shadow over their personal relationships, marriages, and family lives. Friends close to the family noted that both stars suffered from intense isolation, trapped in self-imposed exile from one another while living under the relentless gaze of worldwide fame. The ultimate rupture occurred in 1975, following the death of their mother. According to contemporary reports, Joan claimed she was neither invited to the memorial service nor informed of their mother's terminal cancer diagnosis in time to say goodbye. Olivia sharply disputed these claims, asserting that Joan was simply too busy traveling to attend. This bitter misunderstanding severed their final remaining tie, resulting in absolute silence that lasted for nearly 4 decades. For the remainder of their long lives, the sisters maintained an unyielding geographic and emotional distance. Olivia settled into quiet, aristocratic elegance in Paris, France, far removed from the persistent glare of American media. Joan retreated to her sprawling estate in Carmel, California, pursuing personal passions while strictly forbidding reporters from mentioning her sister's name during rare media interviews. Even in their autumn years, neither woman retreated from her entrenched position. In a rare 1978 interview, Joan famously quipped that she had married first, won the Oscar first, and if she died first, Olivia would undoubtedly be furious because she beat her to the grave. Olivia, maintaining her characteristic poise, chose dignified silence, consistently refusing to engage in public mudslinging while preserving her regal persona. When Joan Fontaine passed away in December 2013 at the age of 96, Olivia released a brief, formal statement expressing that she was saddened by the news. Olivia herself lived to the extraordinary age of 104, passing away in July 2020 as the last surviving major star of Hollywood's golden age. Their deaths closed the curtain on a legendary era, leaving behind a complex artistic record permanently intertwined with personal tragedy. Looking back through the archive of cinematic history, their rivalry offers a sobering critique of early celebrity culture. The toxic blend of maternal favoritism, competitive corporate pressures, and aggressive media sensationalism effectively destroyed a family bond. Their story serves as an enduring cautionary tale about how the machinery of fame can exploit human frailty, transforming personal pain into permanent public spectacles. Ultimately, Olivia de Havilland and Joan Fontaine achieved unparalleled cinematic greatness, earning 3 Academy Awards and legendary status between them. Yet their enduring legacy remains inseparable from the feud that defined their public lives. They rose to the pinnacle of Hollywood power, only to pay the ultimate price: sacrificing a sisterly connection for eternal immortality in the pantheon of cinema history.